Well, what we learned from the charging information filed by the U.S. Attorney in Indianapolis, that's about 60 miles east of here, is that Meehan allegedly came up onto this property. You see it behind me. This is just off of downtown Terre Haute, where the FBI has its offices, flung a Molotov cocktail onto the property. The officer then came out, confronted him. The officer was shot once, at least. Then the officer exchanged gunfire with Meehan. That brought out a second FBI agent who also exchanged gunfire with Meehan. Meehan was wounded twice and drove himself to Terre Haute Regional Hospital, where he was found. He's under treatment there, and his truck was seized and was searched for evidence. As of 10 o'clock this morning, during that press conference, I had a chance to ask the special agent in charge whether or not they had opportunity yet to speak with Meehan. And at that time, Meehan was still under the influence and recovering from his wounds. So even though he's been charged, he has not had his initial hearing in court, and he won't have that initial hearing at least until he recovers and is well enough to make an appearance. In the meantime, I was also out in Meehan's neighborhood this afternoon, and I spoke with a friend of a family member. I was able to take a look at that house and see the evidence of the FBI search and the front door, which had been taken off that house. And I also spoke with a neighbor who said that he watched the FBI search that property. He described Meehan to me as a former Bureau of Prisons employee at the Terre Haute Penitentiary, the federal penitentiary here in Terre Haute, and also said that he had a gruff demeanor. Meehan was an unsuccessful candidate in running for the mayor of Terre Haute back in 2019.
You know, Ross, I find it very interesting that all of this newest information, the suspect and the officer himself, was all released through court documents. Are we expecting to hear from local officials down on the ground in a newer press conference with the newest information that we have now?
There's no new information that is coming out from the officials now. As a matter of fact, this morning they were deferring to the court documents, and being the FBI, they tend to be cautious about that. The Terre Haute Police Department, even though it was their officer, deferred to the FBI since the detective was assigned to the FBI task force, and since it was an FBI agent who eventually engaged Meehan on FBI property and wounded him. That's why this is a federal investigation, and Meehan has been charged in the death of a federal agent, that is a local police officer who has been deputized by the FBI. And behind me you can still see there is still some evidence collection going on in the parking lot at this location, and that has brought FBI agents from all across the country, including the FBI's headquarters laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, to Indiana to search for evidence in this case.